Jimmy Butler's MRI results came back, and they may have just been what everyone was fearing. We'll break that down, as well as an updated injury report on Alex Caruso, Terry Rozier, and Duncan Robinson as the Miami Heat and the Chicago Bulls go into a massive game, battling out for the last and final 8th seed in the Eastern Conference against the Boston Celtics in the last round of the play-in. We'll break that all down in this episode of Heat Digest, where we create daily Miami Heat content. So if that interests you, subscribe to the channel, as 84% of you guys currently watching this video are not currently subscribed. We're on the road to 1,300 subscribers, just less than 60 subscribers away. So go down and click that subscribe button. It means the world to us. We do appreciate all the love and support. Now let's get to it and break down this major injury report update. It's bitter, just bitter. It's just horrible, to be honest with you. It's absolutely terrible. The Miami Heat last night played against the Philadelphia 76ers, an Eastern Conference rival that we've seen now 5 times this year, 4 times during the regular season, and then 1 time in the postseason, if you will, or at least attempt to get into the postseason in the first round of the play-ins. Now, the winner of that game was going to go on and play the New York Knicks. The 76ers did win 105-104 over the Miami Heat, but the loss was more than just that, as Jimmy Butler went down at basically the buzzer of the first quarter due to catching an outlet pass from Kevin Love that he pulled out of the net from a Tyrese Maxey make. With just a few seconds left, he outletted the ball to a streaking Jimmy Butler, who caught it, took 2 dribbles, made a pump fake, got Kelly Oubre in the air, who was trying to make a defensive play on the chase down in transition. When Kelly Oubre was at the top of his jump, if you will, Butler went up for a layup. He was fouled. When he landed, it seemed like he really injured his knee. He was in a bunch of pain. It was obvious. It was clear as day as he rolled over, holding his knee and screaming in pain. J.J. Redick and Doris Burke, who were working the broadcast, had mentioned that they heard an audible scream. They obviously saw it on the camera, as he was the center of attention during that moment. It was not great, and now we have more updates. After the game, we obviously talked about Eric Spoelstra and how he said that Jimmy Butler got really tight during the second half. That knee really limited him, and now we got this from Shams. Obviously, the tweet from last night as well, where he stated that he could possibly have an MCL injury in his knee, and he could miss an indefinite amount of time if that were to be the case. Then we saw this tweet earlier today. The expectation is Miami's Jimmy Butler will be out multiple weeks, sources said. Butler remarkably played the final 3 quarters versus the 76ers last night with what is now feared to be an MCL injury. Now, that was from about 6 or 7 hours ago from Shams, but we got more information just later today saying Shams said this. He confirmed Jimmy Butler has an MCL sprain and is out. Obviously, absolutely not what any Miami Heat fan or follower wants to hear about Jimmy Butler. Thankfully, it's not a tear. It's no rupture of any type with a tendon with the MCL or the ACL, and that's a plus. I know losing him in general is horrible, but again, we just look at the brighter side things. Obviously, he's not going to be able to play tomorrow night against the Chicago Bulls for the last position in the playoffs, and there's a good chance he's not coming back for the rest of the year, depending on how this matchup goes against the Boston Celtics. If we win tomorrow night, without Terry Rozier, without Duncan Robinson, as well as Jimmy Butler, obviously, as we just covered. Terry Rozier, again, out with neck spasms. He's been ruled out for tomorrow night's game against the Chicago Bulls. And then Duncan Robinson, dealing with his back, is probable for tomorrow night's game. Him listed as out, and then it saying probable really leaves me to think that he's probably not going to play, unfortunately. And if he's not 100%, I don't think he's going to play. Even if he's 80 or 90%, I would doubt. I know they're shorthanded to begin with, but when he did play, when he was still playing through the injury, it seemed like when he came back for those 2 or 3 games after he did miss a handful of time, about a week or so, he was not himself. He was only shooting 3 to 8 shots really a game, and he was not shooting at a high clip at all, especially for not even his numbers, but league average. And again, so I would expect him, if he's not at an absolute 100%, I don't believe he will play. I know it says probable, but it being status as being listed as out just leaves me to think that there's not a chance that Duncan Robinson is going to play tomorrow night against the Chicago Bulls in a win or go home scenario for this Miami Heat team. Now, this is not a new scenario, as last year this was the schedule last year for the play-in position for this Miami Heat team. Obviously, the roster is different. It's not the same exact team, but again, the same Miami Heat. Last year, we lost to Atlanta in the first round of the play-in position, just like we did last night to the Philadelphia 76ers. And then we went on to play. We were hosting the Chicago Bulls, where we won by 11 points. Now, tomorrow night is going to look drastically different. We won't have Jimmy Butler. We won't have Terry Rozier. We will not have Duncan Robinson. So, what is this Miami Heat team going to look like? It's going to be very interesting. I really would love to see Bam Adebayo come out and be extremely aggressive. Maybe get a two man game going with Tyler Hero. Allow the offense to really open up. Let the defense do a lot of the talking. Don't let the half court offense be mandatory every time down the floor. We have to be able to steal baskets with steals, quick transition offense, and really getting there to the basket. Getting fouled, go to the free throw line. Without Jimmy Butler, that is going to be a huge factor because he really gets to the line 8 to 10 times. He shoots 8 to 10 free throws a game, shoots like 6 times at the line every night, or he gets to the line 6 times every night. It's interesting. It's going to be very interesting. I would love to see Bam Adebayo really get things going. We know he's so capable of really dominating not only on the defensive end but on the offensive end. I think he has a good matchup tomorrow night against Vucevic. I think he can really get things going, and with Tyler Hero and his volatility, if he comes out and hits a few early shots, the attention on him will be drastic. Possibly Bam will be able to get some easy baskets down near the rim, and then he could set up the jump shot and obviously the elbow jump shot and everything else. During the season, 2-2 on the year between these two teams, split to a piece between the Chicago Bulls and the Miami Heat. Again, this is a team that during the regular season you would think, when the Miami Heat were obviously healthy, that this is a team that they should definitely beat. Now we're going into a postseason game. Yes, it'll be at home. Miami's a better road team statistically by win percentage. If you really want to look at that, it's going to feel like a playoff game. So Miami will have that going for them. They will be at home, obviously, so that obviously should be a boost. Again, I know the win percentage thing throughout the year. And also Alex Caruso, a key piece for the Chicago Bulls team, has a significant right foot sprain in his availability versus Miami on Friday with the 8th seed on the line is in doubt, sources tell ESPN. Andre Drummond stepped on foot versus Hawks in play-in victory tonight. That was obviously against the Hawks, and it's rough to see for someone like Alex Caruso to go down. He's a great player. He was a player I had mentioned earlier during the season, during the trade deadline, right before it, because the Miami Heat were in all these trade talks or trade speculations, and they were all based on guards. And I was just thinking, we have a surplus of guards to begin with. We had just added Terry Rozier. I didn't know why people really anticipated Miami going out and getting another guard, which they did. They went out and got Patty Mills. They went out and got DeLon Wright. But I threw out the name that Alex Caruso. Hey, why not? Because we were in connections to Zach LaVine. There was rumors that he wanted out, and Miami could be a possible landing spot. I was like, keep LaVine. He has way too much money, and he's inconsistent. He always gets hurt, and honestly, he would fit in great with this Miami Heat team this year at least. But I threw out Alex Caruso's name because he's such a defensive-minded player. He's a great player overall, but again, he really, really leads the way on the defensive end. He hustles. He's very athletic for his size, and I think he'd fit in great in Miami. But again, obviously, still, that did not happen, and we do face off against him and his team tomorrow night in Miami for the 8th and final spot in the Eastern Conference playoffs. I can't wait. They were a 5.5-point favorite. If we look at this, the Miami Heat were a 5.5-point favorite last year against the Chicago's Bull team. Tomorrow night they are a 1.5-point favorite. At least that's what it opened at. I can't wait to see if it does move. I want to see if the public is all over Miami, or maybe they're all over Chicago. It's going to be a great game nonetheless, and I can't wait to see the Miami Heat, how they do, and if we get into the last seed of the playoffs. That'll be it for this episode of Heat Digest. I'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching.